What's up guys, I'm Random Frank P. Today we're going to check out something that I get asked about like 100 times a day on Twitter. Let's review the Razer Ornata keyboard. Now the Ornata is one of the newer releases from Razer. When you take a look at it, it is the love child between like the Black Widow Chroma keyboards and the Death Stalkers. Its full-sized layout still sticks to a pretty low profile overall. The keys on this are a nice mid-height size between something like chiclet keys and full-size keys. Let's take a closer look at it. You'll find a very familiar layout, nothing too out of the ordinary here. The top right of the keyboard is still going to show things like when you have caps locks highlighted or your macro switch enabled. Underneath the keys themselves is that nice white backplate, which is going to help the chroma lights inside shine very brightly and vividly. Definitely adds some extra pop to the keyboard. On the back side, you have the cable channel where you can either route it up from the back of the keyboard or out the left or right side. And I'm a big fan because they improved this over previous editions. The teeth used to be very tight and it would actually damage the cable. They seem to have revised that this time around, so the cable can get taken in and out of the little channels there without being ruined. You have 4 rubber pads to avoid scratching your desktop surface and 2 feet to elevate its backside. They also include a nice and very soft leather-like magnetic wrist rest. Very impressed by this, and since it is magnetic, it simply just attaches right to the front of your keyboard. Out of all the included wrist rests that I've used in the past from multiple companies, this one is probably the best. It is extremely soft, it's very pillowy, and it is just really nice to, rest your wrist on this and just type away or game away. So very happy they include that. Now let's talk about the switches, because this is very important for the Ornata itself, and they are not mechanical. They never claim to be a mechanical keyboard here. But these have new Mecha-Membrane switches. So in the past with the Death Stalker, we had membrane switches like the rubber dome keys. And then in things like the Black Widow Chroma keyboards, we had the Razer green switches, which were like knockoff of like Kales and Cherry switches, stuff like that. But it was still mechanical. These Mecha-Membranes are a very solid hybrid between the two that does a very good job of mimicking the feel and the touch of an actual mechanical keyboard switch. Now yes, if you try this and an actual mechanical keyboard side by side, you will notice a difference. But in the end, I've had keyboards and tried keyboards in the past that tried to do something like this and failed miserably. So Razer did a pretty good job for that $100 price point, which we'll talk about in a minute. When you pop off a key, which is actually attached to half the switch itself, you'll see there's actually really nothing underneath there except, the whole housing mechanism and the light inside. It reminds me a lot of Logitech's Roamer G switches. You're probably asking like, what are the pros or cons, and is the average gamer gonna feel a difference? I've been using this for a few weeks and I'm pretty impressed with the way Razer actually designed this, because like I said, it does a great job of finding a good in-between spot of a rubber dome switch and a mechanical keyboard. It feels very, very similar when you're typing or gaming to an actual mechanical switch. So the fact that they can still kind of emulate that feel is pretty impressive. Now, it did take me a while to get used to the lower profile because, with regular mechanical keyboards and the higher keys, you just have that muscle memory of like where the keys are. And since this is lower and it's like an in-between of the chiclet keys, it did take some time for me to get used to, but it really wasn't a big deal at all. And I wouldn't say my gaming was really impacted at all. I mean, I didn't notice any changes, in the heat of the moment in some certain games. I didn't feel like this keyboard was holding me back. At the same time, it wasn't giving me a competitive edge or anything either. So altogether for the Mecha-Membrane, it's really not too bad. I know you want to hear a sound test of these Mecha-Membrane switches, so here it is. All right, before we wrap it up in my thoughts and conclusions and all that, obviously, a lot of the big selling points here with the Ornata Chroma is the Chroma lights, or the RGB lights inside. And for $100, like I said, you do get the Chroma version of this, but for $80, you get just the original, which doesn't have the Chroma lights enabled, just that green. So a $20 price difference for Chroma versus a stock Razer green lights. But inside the software, it is very simple to use. You can go in, create your own lighting effects and stuff like that, and they have a lot of the presets for you. To run through this real quick, because you've probably seen this 100 times in the past, you can go in and make your own custom effects, which means you can do things like highlight certain keys on your keyboard, combine multiple effects. It's very easy to do, honestly. It's all just a matter of layering. And the preset ones are breathing, which is going to breathe one color or two colors, whatever you pick, in and out, so it will fade to black and then fade to the color. Fire is gonna make like this this light show of like a reddish, orangish, yellow, fire-ish, blazing theme going on. Reactive is gonna like pulse the key that you're typing on for a few seconds and slowly fade out. Looks very cool at night. Ripple's gonna do the same thing pretty much, but instead it's going to send this ripple wave of lights out from the key that you press. This is always a personal favorite. After that is spectrum lighting, which will fade from color to color here. Starlight's gonna kind of like twinkle certain keys. You can have it either pick random colors, so it's like a rainbow starlight thing going on, or pick one or two colors to alternate between. Static is obviously just picking one color. And then wave is the famous rainbow wave that goes through all the colors in a nice, pattern. You can switch the direction and stuff. So in the end, is the Ornata worth it? And that's really hard to decide, because at $100, that is a pretty hefty price point for a keyboard that doesn't have true mechanical switches. And things like with their Black Widow X like tournament keyboard, that has actual mechanical switches in it, and that's like what, things like $60, $70, $80 at most. So pretty much what you're getting here, I like to think of this as a better version of the Deathstalker with improved keys, but for $100. The lighting effects are all there, except now you're getting these Mecha-Membrane keys, which, like I said, do a very good job of emulating the feel of a mechanical switch, but it's not. So you're gonna have to decide what you want. I would have liked to have seen this knocked down to like $79.99, considering some keyboards out there that are mechanical, you can get that for, around $60 to $80 in between there. So $99, it's gonna be up to you. I like the keyboard overall. The bright colors are awesome. The included very soft wrist rest is great. Easy to use software, all that good stuff. It's an in-between awkward spot, I think, on the market right now. But if you have the money, if you're looking for a new keyboard, you don't care about switches entirely, this is a pretty solid option. I like it overall. I'm impressed with it and what they did. But I'll put the link for this in the description down below in case you want to pick it up for the holidays. If you like my review of the Razer Ornata keyboard, give this video a big thumbs up to show your support. Feel free to follow me on Twitter at RandomFrankP. Lastly, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Well, I'm Random Frank P. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good day.